Hello. On this edition of the program, we'll get an update on the Bus Network Improvement Project slated for the Baltimore region. We'll introduce you to an exciting transit-oriented development plan in the works for the Savage MARC station and examine the role surveillance security cameras play in making your transit safer. And we've got your customer questions and concerns in our Ask the MTA segment right here. I'm Paulette Austrich. Welcome to MTA Commuter Connections. MTA is in the process of preparing for the launch of a very important and much needed overhaul of bus service in the Baltimore region. The initiative, referred to as BNIP, or the Bus Network Improvement Project, is expected to substantially improve service for the hundreds of thousands of patrons who ride MTA buses daily. Joining us with an update on BNIP is the MTA Director of Service Development, Michael Walk. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Paulette.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
For our viewers who don't know, what exactly is the Bus Network Improvement Project?
The Bus Network Improvement Project, or BNIP, is a comprehensive overview of the bus system. There's 62 bus routes in MTA's bus network, and we started it last fall in 2013, and the goal of the whole project is to make the system as good as it possibly can be, providing the best possible service quality, access to jobs and destinations, and really bring the network up to speed with the times.
Oh, that's great. Now, why is this project necessary?
Well, really there's a lot that has changed in the region over the years, and the bus system to date hasn't changed substantially with it. And so really this project is about trying to get the system up to speed with the new developments in the area, the new job opportunities that are available, and to set the bus system on a course to really be a system of choice for the region.
Terrific. And how did the idea for BNIP come to be?
It was from the the MTA administration and the governor's goal in order to improve ridership in the Maryland region, as well as just our customers talking to us about what needed to change and hearing from them the problems that they were having with the service. And really the MTA looked at that feedback and said there's got to be a comprehensive way to try to solve these issues.
Sure. When was the last bus overhaul or update of the bus system in the region?
Well, there's been several major overhauls in recent history, and about a decade ago there was a major project, and they had some effectiveness and some not. I mean, what we're talking about, BNIP, is our first major improvement project in over a decade, and because BNIP is really about, it's not just tweaking on the margins, it's about making the system work better for the most possible people.
How many buses do you think will be affected by these changes?
Right now, the way that we're crafting the plan is there's significant changes to almost every line in the system. We really tried to take a step back and reimagine, how would you draw these lines without really thinking about what's happening today. So, about every bus line in the system is having some sort of change. Maybe it's a minor realignment of some kind, or it might be more service, so there's a lot of changes planned.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
What phase of the project is it in now? When will it be launched?
Well, right now we're at the phase where we're about ready to publish the full plan in terms of what are we thinking about doing, and this will be our draft plan. We're planning to put this back out to the public, and it will, then we're going to be seeking additional public comment on our ideas, because we worked very hard on putting a good plan out there. We know it's not going to be, we didn't think of everything, and we really need the public's help in order to fine-tune the plan that we put out on the table.
Well, I was just going to ask you, how has the MTA reached out to the public for feedback on these changes?
It's a good question. We did initial public engagement last fall in 2013 in order to get ideas about what people wanted to see. And they were very open-ended sort of conversations about, how far are you willing to walk to a bus stop, or what places do you think need more service? And that was last year. And so we've gone inside and we've been crafting a plan. And now we're going to put that plan back out and say, these are the specific changes that we think need to happen in order to make the network work. And so now we have a whole nother opportunity for public engagement on the particular specifics of the plan.
What's the feedback been like from patrons?
You know, it's a wide variety. You know, we've had a lot of patrons talking about service quality problems where their buses are late, overcrowding conditions and things. And so we incorporated that into the plan, tried to find ways to address those issues. I think there's been a lot of positive feedback as well in terms of things that people really value. So it's, you know, we've had a wide spectrum of engagement, but in some, it's all about people want the bus system to work better.
Sure.
And that's been the overarching theme.
What do you think transit patrons will notice most about the changes?
You know, we really set out in the plan to provide better connectivity to jobs in the region. I think people, when they see the plan, they'll see that. And, you know, we set out to provide more frequent transit service. So as much as we could, we add more service to lines, particularly the ones that haul a lot of people. And so they'll see those changes and significant changes in reliability. You know, we're really taking a look at the way the schedules are crafted and rebuilding those to be up to speed with the traffic conditions of the region. So they should see improved service quality, you know, better access to jobs and destinations, and more frequent transit. I mean, those are the particular components that people will feel on the street.
Wow. Well, I can't wait for this to launch. It sounds fantastic.
Me too.
Thanks for being with us today.
Sure.
It's good seeing you, Michael. Coming up next, a look at how developers and communities are embracing the convenience of transit-oriented development. Stay with us.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Throughout the state and around the country, real estate developers, communities, and planners are recognizing the value and convenience of locating residential properties, employment, and retail near transit. The concept is being launched in a number of areas, including Owings Mills, Wheaton, and in the not-too-distant future, the MARC Savage Station in Howard County, where an exciting development plan is in the works. MTA Deputy Chief Administrative Officer Pat Keller joins us with information on this exciting project. Hi, Pat. How are you?
Hello, Paulette.
Good to see you. Tell us, what is transit-oriented development?
Transit-oriented development is a concept that the MTA has embraced primarily to meet the governor's goal of doubling ridership. Because, as you know, MTA, with the Metro, the light rail, and the MARC train systems, literally has hundreds of stations which really just contain surface parking lots. And the idea is if we develop those surface parking lots, we will bring riders closer to our stations so that we're able to increase ridership and access to the train stations.
And where did the idea of building and planning residential and commercial development around transit come from?
That's a good question. The idea of combining uses actually is probably one that you could look back to, like an old town or an old city where you have a mix of residential, commercial, and office space in a very main street close proximity. And essentially the transit-oriented development is really an emulation of that. They're trying to reproduce a main street atmosphere with a mix of uses. And if you bring jobs, if you bring retail, and if you bring people living and working closer to the environment, it'll hopefully keep the cars off the road and increase our use of transit ridership. So the idea behind it is to bring a mix of uses and to do more intense development around transit stations while still accommodating our existing ridership, because as you know, many of our riders do commute by car, and we still have to accommodate those on the site. But the idea is to get new folks to come and live closer where they can actually walk to a transit station and maybe work there and commute from there.
Oh, I love it. Sounds very progressive. What was the first transit-oriented development project in this area? In
the MTA system, the first project really was Owings Mills. That was a great an example of a partnership really with the federal government, because they owned some of the property, the MTA because the state owned a lot of the parking lots, right, and Baltimore County, and of course eventually a developer as it was brought to the site. The partnership is, I think, critical in all TODs, because the state, the developer, and the local jurisdiction really need to work together to get these surface parking lots into a full development build-out.
Sure. And how has the concept been received in and around Maryland?
Actually, it's really been, I would say, well received as a whole. The projects that have come through either the local process or the state process have done very well and met with little or no opposition. I think most people see the value of bringing houses and jobs and retail closer to transit. And if you think about it, what's there now are just surface parking lots. So bringing some development to that site is usually met with pretty good acceptance.
Sure. What do these projects mean to transit and the state of Maryland in general?
Well, they probably mean a couple things. As you know, a state parking lot is essentially exempt from tax services or local taxes. If we can put a project on the tax rolls, that certainly helps, I think, the local jurisdiction as well as the state of Maryland. Obviously, employment, again, helps the state of Maryland with revenues and income taxes, and retail as well. So I think through a general perspective of taking a property off the tax rolls and putting it onto the tax rolls is probably an excellent idea.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, tell us about this new exciting project.
Savage.
Savage, yeah, MARC station. Tell us about that.
Savage is rather unique. It's on the Camden line. It's a 13-acre parcel, all surface parking lot, largely just commuters driving up. Mm-hmm. That station gets about between 400 and 500 riders every day. So it's not our biggest station on the Camden line, but it does get a lot of activity. And in terms of the local area, it's just off Route 32, and it's also off, it straddles between Howard County and Anne Arundel County. Mm-hmm. And Anne Arundel County has designated a large office park right next to the station. Oh, wow. So we have a growth area there as well as great road access. So essentially there were 12 acres. And we had about 700 spaces on the surface lot, and all those spaces will be constructed into a parking garage, so that we're not losing any spaces, but the spaces, rather than being spread out horizontally, will be vertical. What that does then is open up the land for development, and the developers proposed a little over 400 residential units, a hotel of 150 rooms, I believe 100,000 square feet of office and about 30,000 square feet of retail. So it's a great mixed-use site. Wow. It works well for the MTA. Our parking now is structured, which means it's out of the weather. Folks can go in there and essentially be out of the weather. It's closer to the station, so now all the parking will be literally within 100 feet of the station itself, whereas when it was spread out over the 12 acres, you know, conceivably you had quite a distance to walk. So the development itself is pretty extensive. The development partners were excellent to work with, and actually, you said it was under development. It's actually under construction as we speak. Wow. So if you went out to that site, you would see a lot of bulldozers and activity taking place as we speak.
Wow, that's great.
Yep.
Wow, how convenient is that going to be? Oh my gosh, that's great. How much is the project expected to cost?
That's a good question. It doesn't, in a sense, cost the taxpayers or MTA any money at all. So in a sense, we traded, if you will, the open spaces on the parking lot for structured parking. I believe the developer will probably invest between $50 and $60 million on all the buildings when it's completed. And that does include constructing our parking garage.
Wow. So, and this is, construction has already started.
Yes,
and it's
they've
supposed to be
started.
finished.
Our first phase of the parking garage will be finished the end of December, and then within another 18 months, the remainder of the project will come under construction and be finished, probably within 2 years.
Wow, great. Well, thank you for telling us all about this. This is really exciting. Thanks for being with us today. Coming up next, if you have a funny feeling someone's watching you during your travel on transit, you just may be right. A look at how MTA Police are working to help keep you safe through the use of video surveillance. Next.
I got no pulse, so losing.
Sergeant, he's in VFib.
Shocking. Tries it right all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed. Just buzzed. You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right. This isn't happening. He'll be fine.
I feel good.
Really? No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
VFib.
Shocking.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
If at times you have the sneaking suspicion someone's watching you along transit or on your walk through the metro station, you could be right. MTA Police certainly do have their eyes focused on transit for your safety and security. It's part of a state-of-the-art video security surveillance system being utilized by MTA to help fight crime. Captain Kelly Holman and Captain Berna McCullum of the MTA Police Force join us now with a look at how this electronic surveillance is making a difference. Hello, Captains.
Hello.
How
Good
are you?
morning.
Captain McCullum, MTA patrons often see security cameras on and around MTA transit vehicles and stations. Who is monitoring these locations and why?
MTA Police utilize a combination of personnel that were specifically hired to monitor the systems and police officers. And we utilize a system called ComStat, where we work closely with patrol to get crime data and intelligence, so that when we're actually monitoring the live video, that we're focusing on crime areas that we know are of particular concern for either criminal activity or homeland security purposes.
Captain McCullum, could you give us a little insight on how these security cameras are used to deter and fight crime?
The security cameras are utilized in 3 different ways. We utilize them proactively, real time, and then reactively. Proactively in that ComStat process, where we gain the intelligence so that we know where to look during specific time periods to help out patrol. Real time in that our monitors are actually equipped with our radios so that they can actually hear the calls for service come out. And we automatically go to those places of concern and begin monitoring when we know we have a call for service at a location. We put that up so that everyone in the room has access to the information. Descriptions can go out real time. Information can go out in terms of what activity is actually occurring at a location. Officer safety information. You know, someone may need to know that, you know, you're standing right behind the suspect.
Right.
Goes out real time. So that is a very big benefit of the system. And then reactively, 2 different ways. Reactively, our CCTV system is actually an intelligent CCTV system, and that the system actually records and knows to alarm on certain things that we program into the system. So it's actually monitoring for us, which for us is a force multiplier. And also reactively in that we can utilize our system to go back and research crime that has already been reported, so we can either verify or not something that someone has reported that has happened in our system. We utilize it in prosecution and investigation.
Wow. And Captain McCullum, how long has MTA had this capability?
We've had this capability since approximately 2007, several years to put it together, and then it came live in 2007.
And what funding made this possible?
Combination of grant funding, federal grant funding, and state funding has made this possible.
Great.
And still growing.
Oh, yeah. Captain Holman, in this post-9/11 era, how important is this type of surveillance?
Electronic surveillance is paramount in this post-9/11 era. It aids in the deterrence and investigation of crimes, as well as provides a hedge of protection for the citizens and patrons. Again, as Captain McCullum stated, it's a force multiplier for the MTA Police because it provides us an opportunity to monitor several properties at one time. And with direct communication with police personnel, the officer response time is swift and accurate.
Oh, that's great. Captain McCullum, how many cameras are there actually are you utilizing to keep the commuting public and the general public safe?
While we don't give out information on the exact number of cameras or where they're located, we can tell you that we have over 1,000 cameras throughout the system.
And Captain Holman, how many cameras, or how many crimes, I should say, have been solved using these type of cameras?
Well, you know, MTA Police investigate numerous incidents, and the majority of those incidents have been successfully adjudicated in the criminal justice system due to the crime being captured on CCTV. It is a very effective resource, and as a matter of fact, our crime rate is reduced approximately 37% this year compared to the same time frame last year.
Wow.
MTA Police maintains a very high clearance rate on our most serious crimes. And under the direction of our Chief of Police, John Gavrilis, we have successfully reduced crime throughout the entire agency, and now are focusing our efforts on reducing the quality of life issues that affect everyday ridership.
Do we partner with other law enforcement entities in the use of these types of cameras to monitor crime?
Absolutely. Under Governor O'Malley's interoperability goals, we share our video with numerous federal, state, and local authorities, and they in turn share their video with us as well.
And one last question. For young people who are saying that these cameras aren't real or they don't work, what do you have to say to them?
The MTA does not deploy ghost equipment. It is maintained on a daily basis for operability. So, smile.
Well, thank you both for being here today. Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
It's good to know we're all safe
in
the MTA transit systems. MTA Police recently gathered outside of their regular role of protecting and serving to assist the community in another way. They recently came together to support Maryland Special Olympics with their annual torch run.
The dedicated men and women of the MTA police force who work so hard each day to keep transit and our streets safe briefly traded in their uniforms for tennis and running gear the first Wednesday in June to participate in the 4th annual Torch Run for Maryland Special Olympics.
As you know, law enforcement agencies from around the country have adopted the Special Olympics as their organization that they as police departments want to support, and we're very proud to be part of that larger umbrella. This event to me is very important because it shows that police are getting involved with the community, are supporting events and functions, and do have an ability to give back to the community.
The Torch Run is an annual statewide event which raises money in support of Maryland Special Olympic sports programs for children and adults with developmental disabilities.
We're the #1 in the world torch run partnership between law enforcement and the Special Olympics program. And we've held that title many years running. So we're especially proud of our partnership with all of the law enforcement officers and agencies throughout Maryland.
1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 3.
1, it's great exercise. 2, I have a family member that is especially challenged, and he participates in Special Olympics every year. And 3, just to show my support for everyone.
The 1.5-mile walk-run began and ended at MTA Police headquarters in northwest Baltimore and provided race participants an opportunity to demonstrate their stamina and running skills and gain a little exercise while supporting a great community initiative.
Everybody have fun, okay? That's what this is about. Have fun, let's raise some money for Special Olympics.
Well, it's real important. We take pride in hosting our leg of the torch run. The athletes come out, they participate with us, and we all have a good time to show our support for Special Olympics and the department support.
Major out here for the event. Woo!
Over 10,000 Maryland Special Olympic athletes will benefit from the proceeds generated from this MTA Police event and other similar events scheduled throughout the state. this season.
Coming up next, your customer questions and concerns in our Ask the MTA segment. Stay with us.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
Welcome back. MTA Manager of Systems Engineering, Tammi Bolden, joins us to answer a few MTA customer questions and concerns. Hello, Tammi. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What do you have for us today?
We have a question regarding single tracking during peak periods and a question for HR. And the first question is?
My question is, why does the Metro single track during rush hour?
The MTA is very restrictive when it comes to allowing scheduled work to take place during peak periods that will cause single tracking. However, other factors, nearly all of which are unscheduled, and they range from mechanical issues with the train and or with the track, police activity, to a patron taken ill on board the train. The MTA does try to notify our customers via updates to the MTA website and or announcements on the station platforms as well as on board the train. Next question.
I'm a state employee with the judiciary system. I'm wondering why I'm not authorized to ride the state light rail or the metro system for free, as other employees are authorized to do that. But being judiciary, they just told me I'm not authorized. I can't ride for free. Wondering why.
MTA's current policy is only employees of executive branch agencies are allowed to ride MTA service for free. They do this simply by using their state-issued ID as their transit pass. This policy has been around since the early 2000s and came about as a result of discussions on compensation with executive branch employees during an economic downturn when state employees had to forego salary increases. Last question.
When were they going to start hiring for bus drivers for the MTA? There's a lot of young people, including myself in the community, that do possess licenses or commercial driver's licenses. And it would just be a great way to give us and other young people an opportunity, to get off the streets and just have a stable income.
We anticipate full-time position for bus operators later on this year. Currently, the MTA has a list of applicants that we're working with today. That concludes our questions, and if you have questions for the MTA, we would love to hear from you. So please visit us on mta.maryland.gov or reach us via Twitter or Facebook.
Well, thanks, Tammi. That was great information.
Thank you.
It was good seeing you.
You too.
Well, that brings us to the end of another Commuter Connections program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care.